Coming up today on Cooking Crave, we found a recipe that you can make the night before and have ready before your family gets home for supper the next day. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne and Rhonda.
And you found a recipe for a casserole that you can put together the night before, pop in the oven, have ready before the family comes home, just like I was saying.
Absolutely. Isn't that great?
For working families, and now that the school's in session, it's perfect.
It is.
It's perfect. Yep. What we're talking about is a chicken casserole. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things that everybody in your house is gonna like. To make this recipe, what you're gonna need is just a can of cream of chicken soup, a half a cup of meal, a teaspoon each of onion powder, and I take that back, just a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1.5 cups cooked rice, a half cup chopped celery, a cup of frozen peas, 1.5 cups diced chicken breast, and then you can use that, if you like to make a lot of chicken, use your leftover chicken.
Absolutely, and they even say rotisserie chicken.
Perfect.
Which would be great, be easy. Our family doesn't like the dark meat so well, so I go for chicken breasts. But the rotisserie chicken was great.
And then a cup of coarsely crumbled potato chips. Sounds delicious.
Doesn't it though?
Delicious.
Yeah.
And you found a delicious recipe to go with this.
Yes, and it is the season.
It is the season. Peach cobbler. Who doesn't like it?
No.
You can do this in so many ways. To make this peach cobbler recipe, the ingredients that you need are going to be a half a cup of butter, 3 large peaches, 1.5 cups white sugar, a cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon salt, a pinch of ground nutmeg, and 3/4 cup milk.
It's so easy, but it is good.
I think sometimes people get into the notion that cooking it takes time, but it's not hard.
Correct. And sometimes they think it has to be hard and take a while to be good.
Right.
And it's not and stuff.
Right.
So I did put the oven on at 375. We're going to bake the chicken casserole and the peach cobbler both at 375.
Okay.
The peach cobbler, they say from that 45 to 50 minutes. So I'm going to start with that because it's so easy to assemble. We'll get that in the oven and then we'll assemble our chicken casserole.
Perfect.
It is going to be just one easy, delicious supper.
Awesome.
Okay, so what we're going to do first, it's asked for a half a cup of butter, which is just a half a stick of butter. So we're gonna put that in here, and I'm gonna put that in the microwave.
A full stick.
Oh,
half a cup is a stick.
That's right. Did I say a half a stick?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying a half a stick, and I'm working with a whole stick.
Well, see, viewers would see that, but just in case they were trying to write stuff down at the same time.
Absolutely. It's so easy to know one thing and say another, but the mouth doesn't always engage with the brain, does it?
No.
Oh, and that's not a requirement. Oh, well, it should be. Okay, so we're going to put this in the microwave just to melt that for a little bit. Let's just put it on like 35 seconds because it's pretty soft. It's not going to take much.
Okay.
It does ask for 1.5 cup sugar, and it says divide that. So we're going to put about 3/4 cup sugar in our peaches. I did already just slice those, and you want a nice 3 good-sized peaches.
Okay.
And you can always have less, but it always will be a little bit better. You want the more fruit, the better. So let's just mix this up here. And I hear that butter popping, and I don't want that to splatter all over my microwave when it is already melted. So we'll just put that here.
Okay.
And so we're just going to blend that in there. And then we just are going to put the peaches, lay that right on top of there.
Okay, so we don't have a crust on the bottom.
Correct. The cobbler, it goes on top, and it's going to be great. It's easy. It's just everything. So
and I know, obviously, from the recipe, peach cobbler, but is this similar that you can change out the fruits depending on the season, but use the same crust that we're going to be putting on?
Absolutely. It would be basically, the same. crust there.
So 3 cups of fruit. You just want to make sure you have about that quantity.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to just put that in here and just, so it'll be a nice generous amount of peaches on the bottom there. So, and like I say, it says to melt the butter, and why not melt it in if you have a microwavable dish? Use
Sure.
that. Don't eliminate a couple of extra, dishes if you can.
Unless you really like to do dishes.
That's right. Okay. So now this is really easy. So we're going to put the rest of the sugar in here.
Okay.
And that's about 3/4 cup, and a cup of flour, and 2 teaspoons baking powder.
Okay.
And we're going to just have a pinch of nutmeg in here. And it says, a little bit of salt, to about a 1/4 teaspoon salt. So we don't want to forget that. And that's kind of like what we're doing is our self-rising flour with the baking powder and the salt
yes.
in there. It's exactly what we had before.
Absolutely.
So just that pinch of salt. And then we need 3/4 cup milk. So I'm going to have you get the milk out. So let's just mix this here.
You want to put it in here?
Yes, I think that's my 3/4 cup measuring pitcher, is it not?
Yep.
Make sure. Okay. Put that in there, and we're gonna just blend that. So you don't even have to take out your mixer or anything like that to beat it. You just need to mix that all up and pour it right on top.
Okay.
And with it being peach season, I know a lot of people can. I just like to buy a box of peaches and freeze it. Put a little bit of your fruit fresh in there, just a tiny bit of sugar, and when you unthaw those and take them out, it's just like fresh.
So are you slicing them before you put them in the freezer? Okay,
Yes.
so you're not putting them in the freezer whole.
No, correct.
Okay.
Just slicing them up and putting a little bit of fruit fresh and a little bit of sugar, and then when you unthaw them and use them, it's just like having a fresh peach.
All right.
And boy, I tell you, in the middle of the winter, that sounds pretty darn good.
Absolutely.
So okay, so you can see that batter is kind of thin. So we're going to just pour that on top.
So this is, very simple to put together. You probably did the hardest or the most time-consuming part by slicing the peaches beforehand.
That's right, yeah. And you definitely want to peel the peaches.
Okay.
For that there too and stuff. So we have that there, and and when that's in the oven, that's just going to spread out there. And right now, you're seeing that butter on top of there, and that's just gonna help brown that. Yeah, I guess I was born with fingers. Let's just use them fingers. Okay. So now we're going to put that in the oven.
Okay.
And we'll put the timer on right away for that 50 minutes. And I'm going to assemble the chicken casserole in this bowl before I, put it in our casserole dish. It'll be easier to mix that way and stuff. So, and I had this bowl right here to mix my cobbler in, or the dough and the sugar, and I didn't. I took this one, so now I have to wash it. See, that always just takes.
So we'll be back in just a moment.
Country Rose Cafe on East Villard is open for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. Enjoy daily homemade specials, caramel and cinnamon rolls, several different kinds of homemade pies made fresh every day. Country Rose Cafe is also famous for homemade soup, including their ever-popular Nefla served every Tuesday. While you're in, make sure to pick up your Channel 18 Cooking Crave recipes and like us on Facebook for different specials and announcements. Country Rose Cafe, the way a cafe should be, located at 837 East Villard in Dickinson.
Well, we're starting out with a nice clean bowl here. Just start with that. So, okay, you know, and the reason I want to put it in a bowl because we're going to have our cream of chicken and mayo and some of our other seasonings. So let's mix that well before we add the chicken and the rice, so
Sure.
that, you know, it just makes it easier to assemble. So, and so just 1 can of cream chicken here. And I'm going to get myself a skinnier spatula. And you know, and if you have leftovers, this will really freeze well too.
Okay.
So not only can you make it the night before, if you have extras or just a little bit left that you want to maybe take to lunch with you, it'll work great.
Perfect. Sometimes it's not easy to drive home from work depending on where you're at. You got road construction. All takes time.
Dough. And that we always seem to have, don't we?
Is the season.
It is. Okay. And then we want half a cup of mayo.
Okay.
We could just eyeball that too, and it probably would work just fine, but we'll put that in here. And I definitely would suggest using the mayo. You could, if you were in a pinch, just use Miracle Whip. But we always know that mayo has just that little extra zip to it, and it does make a difference in your recipes. So. Put that in there. And then it says a teaspoon of onion powder.
Okay.
So we're going to put that in there. And, you know, about a half a teaspoon of pepper. And I think they say half a teaspoon of salt too here. And you know, you don't need a lot because, you know, your chicken, your soup mix and all that has, you know, salt in it too, so you don't want to
Yes.
get too salty.
I'm a firm believer in that. You can always add salt.
Absolutely. Just mix that up there. And this way you know that you got everything blended well, and you know when you put that into the casserole dish, everything's going to be ready to go. Okay. It does ask for, like I said, it's just a cup and a half of chicken. And again, I did use just chicken breasts. And if your family likes the dark meat and all that, that rotisserie chicken would be great. Anything like that will work good.
Well, and I see this working well. I mean, you can make this a turkey casserole. You know, hold on to the recipe if you have a lot of turkey left over at Thanksgiving time or holiday time when you probably tend to make a more traditional turkey. This would be a great recipe for that too.
It definitely will be. And then a half a cup of celery, chopped celery.
Okay.
So we'll put that in. And a cup of, it says frozen peas. Of course, you do want them thawed in there, so that's already done that. So that does make a colorful, you know, casserole too.
Sure.
And it's just kind of nice once in a while to have a switch or an alternative from noodles, because we're going to use rice in this.
Okay.
So I just did choose to use minute rice and have that cooked, but you can certainly use your long grain rice. I have a little bit more here than a cup and a half, so I'm certainly not going to use all of this rice here.
That'd probably end up to be a little bit dry if you did.
It would be. So there we go. So that's about a cup and a half. And then we're going to, we do want to spray that casserole. They suggest about a 3-quart casserole.
Okay.
And you know, I think too, you could, if you don't have anything like that, go ahead and use a 9 by 13. I don't think you're going to be, it'll be just fine. And see, being the rice is, you got your rice cooked already, it's not going to soak up the liquid as if you put in, uncooked rice. You'd have to accommodate for that.
So, okay, this might be a stupid question. So, I know if you cook noodles right before you put them, and then you rinse them off with cold water, and you make a salad right away with them, they soak up a lot of that juice. So if you did the same thing with cooked rice, you didn't cool it off, would it be the same? Or once cooked rice is cooked, they're not going to it's not going to absorb more water?
No,
Okay.
it's going to be.
See, I know all these lady cooks out there are laughing at me right now, but
Oh, I don't think so here.
there's got to be other cooks out there that don't cook as much either.
Well, it's such a, it's not a hard question. And the thing is, probably some of those things we don't really ask because we just always assume. And, that's not always the way to do it either.
See, I just ate at home. I wasn't in the kitchen helping
You
it.
Not too much, were you? You were just a busy student and you worked and all that, so. So we'll just spread that out. And the next thing is we're going to crush some potato chips on top of it.
Sure.
That's just a little twist to give a little crunch to it, and that's going to be kind of a little different instead of like breadcrumbs or that. So again, we're getting a little bit of our saltiness from our potato chips also.
Okay.
And that, and just there. And it says about a cup of crushed potato chips, and I don't think you really need to measure too much. You just want to make sure that you've got that spread evenly on top, and that you have it all covered. So.
Sure.
And like me, I guess I usually find that I'm more wanting to do a little bit more than less and stuff.
A little bit more generous.
Yeah, you want to be generous because that's going to give that little extra crunch to it.
Sure.
So we'll get that. And then we can get that in with our peach cobbler, and that is going to bake for that about 45 minutes. And it shows 41 minutes on there, and it's good to have that cobbler out just a couple of moments before we actually serve it because it's going to be hot.
Yes.
So
Let it set up a little bit.
so let's put that in there. And move that over, and there we go. Now we let the oven do the rest.
Well, that's the perfect thing.
Yeah. So look at how easy it was to assemble a good, wholesome supper.
Right.
And it's nice to make beforehand. You come home from work, and it's, in the summer I don't use my timer on the oven to say I want it to start at 3 o'clock so much, but in the wintertime I do, because it's cool, and most of those things most of that's cooked. It's not going to hurt to be in the oven and to go on automatically around that 4 o'clock, and so when you get home it is ready.
Perfect.
Because you get home, the school kids are
Hungry.
home from school. They're very hungry.
Especially those first couple weeks of school until you get back into the routine a little bit.
Yeah, and that's this time of year too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Just right around the corner. So we'll just be back shortly when our oven has done the work for us.
Perfect.
Okay, let's check our chicken casserole here. And as you can see, we took out our peach cobbler already.
This is nice and golden brown.
It is. Looks great. So let's just check how this is doing. Oh, okay, that's starting to brown there, and I can see on the sides that is bubbling. So that looks great. So we'll turn off the oven. And
Okay.
let's just bring both of those over to the counter here. Okay.
They look great. They smell great.
Well, and one thing with peach cobbler, what's going to be the best thing to eat with it?
Yeah, ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream, isn't it going to be? So I'm going to let you take out a serving of our peach cobbler that they
Okay.
can see. And is that going to work well, or should we have I think that's going to work pretty well, that spoon. And then I'm going to spoon out a little bit of the chicken casserole here. And that's just bubbling in there. That's going to be great.
Oh, they smell just awesome.
So we have to put that vanilla ice cream, look it on there. And you know that little touch of nutmeg in there is going to be pretty good. I've noticed peach cobbler recipes, they don't have cinnamon or nutmeg in it and that. And I think with that, it's just a great flavor to it that you really want that. So we're gonna dig out a little bit of vanilla ice cream. We'll put that on the side there for a moment.
Yeah, because that's still pretty darn hot.
It is. And you know what, we're going to just add a finishing touch to our chicken casserole. You know, the thing is, we have everything here you need. You got your meat, your rice, and you've got some peas and celery in there. But, you know, just to finish that off, and why don't we add a couple of fresh vegetables and that. So,
Absolutely.
look at that.
Oh, they look absolutely great, Mom. I'm sure that the viewers can see that they look absolutely wonderful, and I know they're going to taste just as wonderful.
I can count on that.
To get these recipes, just go to Consolidated's website, www.ctctel.com. Please submit your recipes for Laverne to cook for you, and thank you always to our sponsors. Have a great day.